All right, guys, got the lift put in. So welcome back to Phillips Hot Rod Garage. You know, it feels like it's been forever since I've worked on this Model A. I've had a few guys to ask when we're gonna have some more build videos. Well, they're coming. The very next video will be a build video on the Model A. So we're gonna talk about that in this video. We're gonna figure out what we're gonna do next. We got a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of changes have took place here in the past few weeks. So I'm gonna show you guys around the shop and show you guys what's been going on, because things have changed very quickly and there's a lot been going on. It's been stuff that it's just really not been stuff that you really want to see on video. I thought about doing a lift install video, but there's a lot of lift install videos out there. You know, that's not really something that I would call very interesting unless you're trying to put one in and you need some information on installing a lift. So if anybody wants to know anything about installing my lift, I'll tell you. But the guys that were helping me, they didn't really want to set up the camera and go that route. They wanted just to get it done. So we did. We just got it done. We had one day to get the lift put in, and we got it put in one day. So I got a couple of little small things to do on that project and it'll be finished. But I left the board and stuff out. I'm gonna show you guys what we've been doing, and then we're gonna be talking about the Model A. So don't go anywhere. It's gonna be a good one. All right, guys, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but there's rain on the roof. So hopefully that sound of rain doesn't drown my voice out too much. Hopefully the audio turns out pretty good in this one. But as you guys can see, there's a lot more going on this side of the shop now than just putting up a lift. This truck has been sitting in the shop for the whole time I've had the channel. It's just been sitting under a cover, and finally got the cover off so you guys can see what's under it. It's filthy, it needs a bath. There's a lot to be said about it, but this is not the video for that. I'm going to try to make talking about these brief so we can move on. But this is a 1994 Ford F-150 Lightning. Like I said, there's a lot to be said, so we may have a video on this someday, but not priority at this time at all. This vehicle is one I just bought. This is a 1992 Ford Mustang Coupe, and it's pretty bad. Let me let you hear this. All right, so as you guys can hear, thing sounds pretty good. All right, guys, this is Phillips Hot Rod Garage. If it's a hot rod, I love it. Doesn't matter if it's an old Ford, late model Ford. If it's a hot rod, I like it. So here's the deal with this car. Not going to spend much time on this. We're fixing to move on, but this car is something that I'm going to make really nice, really quick. I'm going to go ahead and paint this car. Going to do some mechanical stuff to it. It needs some work, and I'm going to have a video on just this car coming up pretty soon, because I'm ready to get started on it. My wife and I decided we wanted something to cruise that was a later model car with air conditioning, something fast, something that looks good, that we could take to the shows in the meantime while I'm working on these other projects. Because as you guys can see, it's going to take a while to get the Model A done. The 37 pickup's going to take a while. The 32 sedan, it's going to take a while. I mean, these are not very quick turnaround projects. And honestly, the 57 Chevrolet video that I have up on my channel where I was doing the painting, that car, or that video, is the best video that I have on my channel as far as the number of views I get and the number of subscribers that I've gotten. So all of you guys who are watching my channel who subscribe because of that video, I appreciate it. That video has just really done very well, and I guess people like it when I'm doing the painting. Doing the body and the paint work just seems to be something that everybody likes. So I thought I might get something that I could do some body and paint on, show you guys, you know, how I can go about making this car really, really nice and slick. And I'm gonna paint it, sand it, buff it, everything, because I'm honestly more at home with doing that kind of work. That's what I do for a living. I'm more at home doing that than I am working on this old rusty stuff and doing the fabrication work. But we're not going to quit on the Model A. We're still doing fab work. That's what's coming out in the next video. But that's the plan for this. We're going to build a really, really nice car out of this little Fox body on the channel. It's going to be a show quality car. It's not going to be a daily driver. It's going to be a show car, and I'm going to keep it covered up. It's going to be super, super nice. The Lightning, I don't know. More on that later. All right, let's talk about some other things. All right, guys, so I'm just going to kind of walk in a circle here and show you what all's in here now. Kind of give you a little bit of a view of what the shop looks like. I've been doing a ton of cleaning up lately. I have pretty much moved just about everything in the whole building. Everything except for some of the stuff in this corner. I still need to clean that up a little bit. But for the most part, I've just about moved every piece in this entire building around just to make room for this lift to go in, to be able to work around the lift, and to be able to get this Mustang in here. Now the corner over there on the other side of the Mustang, it was just piled up with junk. So the only thing I got over here now is a 5-liter Ford Mustang 302 engine that came with the 32 Ford when I bought it. It's a rebuilt engine that's ready to drop in. There's a 291 DeSoto Hemi right here in pieces. There's a 59 AB flathead. You guys have seen this one before. And there's a flathead I've never shown you guys, but I think that block is broke. But it is a fairly fresh rebuild, and I think there's some good parts in there, so that's why I'm keeping it. But I do need to find somewhere else to store it. I had to move the Coke machine, it was in the way. Had to move everything along this wall to make room for the lift to go in. That corner down there was just piled with junk. You couldn't move over there. So that has been a lot of work getting that area cleared out. Right here is the 40 flathead that we had a couple of videos on a while back. There will be some more videos on this coming up soon because that's going into the 37. And I found this intake at the last swap meet that I just picked up for it. Edmunds 2x2. It'll fit right on that 40 flathead. That's going to be a good addition to that project. And of course I got the Model A out in the middle of the shop now to where I can work on it. And you guys remember building the little rolling jig for it. So now we can work our way around this car pretty easily. So that's going to be a great new spot for it. And the 32, it got moved. The 32 Chevy that was sitting in here, it got sold. And here's the 32 chassis that goes under the Model A. It's got a good spot for it to sit there. And of course, my old work table. Now this corner here needs a little work, as I said. I need to do a little bit more cleaning up over here, but that'll be taken care of next week. Now the problem that I have here is room to put stuff. Guys, this place is just getting out of hand. This is my storage room, and it is piled up. Don't have much room. I'm fixing to have to start getting creative and making some shelves, trying to move some stuff off the floor and up onto the higher portions of the room, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but no matter how big you build your shop, it's gonna end up being too small. This is supposed to be my bathroom. This is where the bathroom's going in, and I'm doing a little bit of work up here, but it needs to be finished. And look at it, it's piled with junk. Just running out of room, guys. I got a transmission for the Mustang down here. There's boxes of Mustang parts under there. I got a whole bunch of Mustang parts down here. And this area here is cleaned up pretty good. There's the Hemi going in the Model A. So there you go. All right, so there's just a quick look at the shop just to show you guys what all we've been doing and how things are coming along. We've still got a lot of work to do. I've got to close up that hole up there where my upstairs storage area is, so that I can keep the shop a little bit warmer. That part is not insulated up there, and it kind of gets a little bit cold during the winter. I need to build a work table along this wall. I need to get that done. So there are some things that I need to do to the shop, but I think it's about time to get back on the Model A. I'm ready to get to work on it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing and see what we got to do next. All right, so I got all this sheet metal here. Got patches for the bottom of the quarters, patches for the bottom of the doors. There's the outer skin for the doors. And then I've got lower quarter patches for the quarter panels. So I've got that to do. So this piece goes inside here, right there. Of course, we got this piece that goes on the outside of the door. I got these pieces that go here. I don't have any wheel wells yet. I don't know if I'm going to try to make them or if I'm going to try to buy some. I really don't know on that yet. Kind of been thinking about that a good bit, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't know. But we got these pieces that go here. And of course, none of this stuff fits. I mean, none of it fits. It's all going to have to be modified and made to fit. And speaking of not fitting, I figured out what's going on with the trunk right down here. I'll bring you a little closer and show you what's going on with that. So my neighbor that lives about 2 or 3 houses down from me, he's got a Model A coupe. And he saw on one of my videos where I was working on the trunk, where I was having issues getting these two pieces to fit. So he made a template of his car and he brought it to me to kind of show me what the shape was supposed to be. And here's what I got going on. When you hold the template he made off his car against this trunk lid is out too far in the middle, and I have a gap on either end. So the trunk has too much contour in it. It's out too far in the middle, in too far on the sides. So that would explain this, but that's not the only problem. When you put this against this body panel here, well, the car is rolling away. The body panel is too far in the middle. It's got probably maybe an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of gap in the middle. So here's what's happening. The trunk is out too far in the middle and the body panel is in too far in the middle. Both pieces have to move, which that'll help me tremendously to get all this lined up. I was wondering, you know, do I need to move the trunk in or do I need to move the body panel out? Which one's it going to be? Well, since Mickey made me this template, now I know which one it's got to be. They both got to move. The body panel's got to come out and the trunk lid has got to go in. And I think that's going to get these two panels lined up pretty good once I get that done. So that's one of the things that's got to be done. Another thing's got to be done is I've got to make some kind of stops to go under these wheels to stop this thing from rolling, because it rolls really easy. But before I do any more sheet metal work, I think I need to dump out this wood, see what I got, see what I'm missing, and try to get a good idea of exactly how this roof's going to fit, because until I get this roof to fit this car, I don't think I'm going to be able to set these quarters where they need to go. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. I got one more piece right here. Well, looks like a bunch of firewood, doesn't it? So I mentioned this before, that I got a huge gap right here between this panel right here and the quarter and the tulip panel. Huge gap. Now over here on the side it's pretty close. So I'm thinking that this gap should be pretty even all the way down. Now this is a special coupe, so it's supposed to have a trim that covers over this. that I'm gonna have to make because I don't have that piece. I'll modify that somehow, make it look good. But I'm thinking that the car is too low right here. The reason I say that is because these braces right here were completely rusted off on the bottoms, and I didn't have anything to go by. I just built the new ones to match the height it was at. But I think what happened is when the braces rusted away, I think over time that this top portion of the car right here, the tulip panel area and all that, I think all that has sunk. And I think with all this area being sunk down too low right here, I think that's what's causing me to have issues getting my trunk to line up right. I mean, I have it pretty nice right through here, but it's touching here and it's actually overlapping on this side. So some people say, well, just trim it off or trim this piece down. But guys, I have measured this. This trunk lid is the exact same measurement as the one that came off the car. I have measured this panel and it is exactly the same as what came off the car. So the issue is not with the dimensions of the panels. The issue is that the panels are just not fitting together right. And I think it's going to be because this is sunk down. I think if I were to pick this area of the car up, raise it up, I think when I do that, it's going to shift this whole area up to where I'll develop a gap down here. Because as you can see, I don't have one now. So at the end of the project, when everything's done, if I have to end up opening that gap up by doing some grinding and some welding and fixing that, I can. But I don't want to right away. I want to leave that and see if I can get this thing to shift up by raising this tulip panel and just see if that'll help this gap and help this gap at the bottom. So that's kind of where I'm at on this car. So I really can't do a whole lot of sheet metal repair as far as this area down here and putting wheel wells in. I can't do any of that till I get this situation straightened out. Because if this area has to be jacked up right here, it's going to affect how all that stuff fits down here. So you can kind of see my dilemma and see why I've been delaying a little bit on getting some of this stuff done. It's because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and weld a bunch of stuff in the bottoms down here and end up having major problems up here. And since I don't have a solid top, the only way I'm going to know if I've got to raise this area up right here is I'm going to have to put all this wood kit together, bolt it on, jack that car up to the wood so that everything lines up as it should. I mean, that's the only thing I know to do, guys. That's all I know to do. If I had a solid top on this car and it had the original 28-29 bolt-on quarter window panels, the ones that actually bolt here to this lip like a standard coupe, I wouldn't have that problem. But as of right now, I don't know exactly how this fits. Now I got this wood kit from a parts vendor at a swap meet. He said he thought that it was a complete kit, but it was an old stock kit. He got it from a Model A parts vendor that went out of business, and it was some of their old stock. I got a feeling there's going to be a couple of missing pieces, but he told me to lay it out, see what I had, and he sold it to me really cheap. So I'm okay with what I've paid for this. So if there are any missing pieces, he said he'd help me get them. So I need to lay this stuff out and see what I've got. Now I know this is just a wood kit that goes around the quarter windows and around the back glass area on the special coupe. I'm gonna need to order the roof wood kit, the part that goes over the header and the part that has the roof bows. I'm gonna need to go ahead and order those and see if I can put the top together on this car. I think that's one of the next thing that's gonna have to be done. Get the top put together and then get back on this lower portion down here. So let's lay this stuff out and see what we're missing and see what I got to get ordered. I think that's the next thing we need to do on this project. All right, this piece goes onto the car first. I'm going to show you how this piece goes and then you'll get a good idea of why I need to put this on there. So this piece is actually contoured to match the body. So with this piece on the car, you can get a good idea of how the car is supposed to be shaped. And that does look pretty close, but I can still tell that this is definitely not right. This whole area needs to go up. Let me stick some more pieces up there. I'm gonna get something to hold that. All right, let me move to the other side. All right, that is making me think that I'm right on this deal. Now you can see from just clamping this wood on here, with it clamped tight right along here, you can see as the quarter turns here, you can start to see that gap develop right here. I believe all this is going to be too low. Look how wide that is. I can just about get my finger between that. Now, there's no saying that that wood kit is cut perfect or anything, but considering it's the same way on both sides, I mean, you can see it on this side too. See right here where the wood is flush against it, and then it starts to widen out. See that? That lets me know that I'm probably going to be right on this deal. That's probably going to be too low. And once you hold this piece up there now and take a look at it, you can see that if the quarter was to here, that's not as wide as it was. It's pretty close actually. And that lets me know that that trim would cover that. So I believe I can come up that much and be okay with it. Now I want to take a look at this piece that goes here. I can't get this on there because I got the square tubing in the way and these bolts are in the way. But I want to stick it up there as close as I can get it and just take a look at how it's going to fit. Now looking under the bottom, if I flush it up all the way down to where there's no gap in it, take a look at the back right here. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. It's like 1/8 of an inch or so right there that you can see that quarter starts to turn down. So even with this piece clamped right here and leaving all that gap, you can see that even this area right here has still got to go up some, because this is too flat across here when you compare it to this wood. And the wood I think is pretty close because it's just confirming what I already thought was going on. And this piece goes across the top and it connects together like that. Yep, that's how that goes. So let me lay this stuff out on the floor. All right, and there's how that rear window section goes together. And then you've got this trim that goes inside the car. That's what holds the glass in. And then there's one more piece that goes on there. This piece right here. It actually goes right there. That's what fills in the roof of the car. Let me show you that. Actually goes up here like this. And this is pretty much all the metal that's on the back of the car. That's it. This nails to the wood. This screws and nails down to the wood. And then I think there's one piece of sheet metal that goes right here, fills this area in, and it's just a piece of flat sheet metal that you can make yourself. Not much to that. So that's how the rear window of a special coupe goes together. And these pieces go like right in here somewhere. But I don't have the wood pieces that go around these windows that these attach to. And I'm missing a curved piece like this that goes right across the top right here. So that's what I've got to call and try to order. I got to have the pieces that go around these windows, the curved pieces that go up at the top. Then I think I have everything for this rear section of the wood kit. And then I got to have the top bows and the header. I've got the door post. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the wood kit. So at least now I know what I got to get ordered. So guys, I didn't know I was going to have a gap there. I was just kind of guessing at it. Judging by the problems I was having here, I was thinking I was going to have that gap. I just felt like I was going to have it, and I did. So now that I know that there's an issue with that, I'm glad I kind of stopped on this and didn't continue trying to weld all this up. I'm just afraid to weld the subrails in and try to weld any patches in until I get this right. I think this is what's got to happen next. And once I get this roof put together, I can jack this piece up to match the height of the roof. Then I'll be able to get back going on the sheet metal. So there you go, guys. That's what I've been doing. That's why I've been not really getting anywhere on this thing. I thought that I had a problem there, and I figured, why don't I just drag the wood out, stick it up there, see how it's going to look. I think that's probably 3/8 of an inch right there. And 3/8 of an inch up here, you might not think it'll be much, but when you move this up 3/8 of an inch, that's going to move this down here, because it's going to carry this panel up, which is going to pull the trunk up with it. And when the trunk goes up, it's going to get a gap down here. Exactly what I needed to happen. Hey, building these things is not easy. Everybody laughs and scoffs and says, oh man, you're taking all this time building this. Well, you build it. And then tell me how that works out for you. Yep, big old gap I got to deal with. But at least we're getting somewhere now. Now I know what to do. All right, so here's how I'm going to go about making some progress on the car. I knew I had a problem here. I've confirmed that I have a problem. So I've got to get the rest of the wood, got to get that ordered so I can get it all put together. Now that panel around the quarter, this piece that goes right here, around the quarter window, that piece is of no structural value. It's just a cover. It just basically nails to the wood. And the piece that goes above the door, that's for a sedan, and I've got to cut that down and modify it to fit the coupe, because nobody makes those panels reproduction for the coupes, only for two-door sedans. So I really can't use those pieces to know how this top goes together. The wood's what's going to tell me how the top goes together. So once I put the wood together, get those panels attached to the wood, then I'm going to know a little bit more about how this is going to go, so I can get this area jacked up, get my braces rebuilt, and then all this will be in place. So what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to go ahead and start on the doors, because the doors are kind of like a no-brainer deal. We can go ahead and put the inside piece in, put the outside piece in. I can rebuild the door latch assemblies. Now they do work pretty good, so I think rebuilding them, they got new spring kits for them and all. I actually already have them. I think as good as they work, I think they'll be okay. I've got to do something with the window regulators. I doubt those are ever going to work. I'll probably just take them out. But we're going to sandblast the doors, get them clean, get some of the dents straightened out in them. I could put a whole skin on here, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to straighten it. And going to put these bottoms in. So that's what we're going to be working on over the next few videos on this project. We're going to start on the doors. I think that's going to be the best thing to do. Give me a little bit of time to get this top situation figured out. It got hot in here, so I had to get my jacket off. So don't unsubscribe to the channel, guys, just because I got a Mustang in here. Hopefully you guys like Fox body Mustangs. I know a lot of guys that are following my channel are just here because of the Model A's and the early hot rods, and I appreciate that. That's what my channel has mostly been about. But yeah, we're gonna do a little work on the Mustang also. It's gonna be a really cool project. It's not gonna take over the channel. The videos on the Mustang will be in between videos on the Model A. The Model A is still gonna be the main project on the channel, just like it always has been. But there will be Mustang videos in between. I would love to be able to put out videos on the Model A on the weekend and put out Mustang videos about middle of the week. If I could pull off having projects done on both cars every week, that'd be nice. But the Mustang's got to get done quick. This has got to get done as quick as possible. So that's one reason I put the lift in, is because there's so much work that needs to be done under the bottom of this car. If you know anything about Fox bodies, you know that these cars have issues with the torque boxes. They got to have subframe connectors put on them. I've got a whole new rear suspension to go under here, new front suspension. I've got to change out the transmission. I might change the gears in the rear because it has 410s or a little bit low. Anyway, not going to get into all that. This car needs a ton of work, and I know right what to do. So see you guys in the next one. I appreciate you watching. Model A video coming up, very next video on the Model A. It's going to be exciting to get started back on it again and get some work done on those doors. Appreciate you guys watching. See you guys in the next one.